Wildcat Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Wildcat Week, presented by Amplify Media. I'm your host, Abby Harvey, and I'm super excited to bring to you episode 2 of season 4 as we spotlight our men's swim and dive team here on campus. But first, I'm going to pass it to Isaac Wolf to give you our Crossroads League in review.
I'm Isaac Wolf with your Crossroads League Week in Review. In women's basketball, the story of the weekend was the top 5 matchup in Lucky Arena on Saturday, where the Marion Knights went into the city of Marion and stunned number 2 Indiana Wesleyan 73-54. The story of the game was the shooting discrepancy between the two teams. The Knights shot 62% from the field, 55% from 3, and 89% from the free throw line. Tamia Perryman led the team in scoring with 15 points, followed by Ella Collier with 14, Aaliyah Evans with 13, and Kennedy Gerard with 12. The Wildcats were held to just 34% from the field and went 0 for 12 from beyond the arc as a team. Taylor Folkema led IWU with 19 points off the bench. With the win, the Knights take control of the conference with an in-league record of 9-0 and 18-1 overall. Indiana Wesleyan falls to second place in the Crossroads League with a record of 17-2 overall and 8-1 in conference. In men's basketball, number 5 ranked Indiana Wesleyan narrowly avoided the upset at home against Marion. Despite playing without top option Gus Etchison, the Knights managed to keep it close. A turnover by Marion's Brody Whitaker and 2 free throws from Griffin Cleaver of Indiana Wesleyan sealed the 82-78 win for the Wildcats, who were led in scoring by Cademan Bontrager with 26. That win pushed the Wildcats' record to 17-2, and they have yet to lose a game since Thanksgiving. That most recent Indiana Wesleyan loss came at Grace, who remains undefeated. They took care of St. Francis and Mount Vernon this week, winning both games by double digits. Jacob Gibbs led the way for the Lancers, averaging 18 points per game across the 2 wins. Their next test lies at number 23 Bethel on Wednesday. The Pilots are fresh off 2 wins this week against Spring Arbor and Taylor, and in Saturday's 75-66 win against Taylor, senior Drew Lutz scored his 2,000th career point. Lutz finished the game with 16 points in the win. That's all for this week with your Crossroads League Week in Review. I'm Isaac Wolf.
Today I'll actually be joined by Isaac due to Micah being sick, and I'm super excited to work with him to bring you guys episode 2 of Wildcat Week, where we're spotlighting the men's swim and dive team. And it's one of IWU's newer teams, and we are joined today by Grant Brown and David Beatty. Is that how you say it, right?
That's right, yeah.
Perfect.
So first off, we want to hear a little bit about how you got into the sport growing up.
I'll start off. Well, I think both my parents were swimmers when they grew up, and they grew up like being around water and like lifeguards and being around lakes and stuff and kayaking and doing all the outdoor jazz. So like I initially just got in the water when I was like young, and it came natural, and I just swam locally, like in my club and my high school team, and I eventually just like wanted to compete in college and pursued that, and ended up at ONU for my first year and swam a year there, but I wasn't completely ready for the school scene of college and stuff, so I actually flunked out and left and didn't go to college for a while, and started working, and ended up not liking what I was doing, and I wanted to get a degree. I wanted to go back to school. I didn't really know why. And I think it was I wanted to finish swimming, like all my eligibility, because that was like my true like calling, I think. And so I went back here to finish that out. So I had 3 years left eligibility, and I've got 2 more years left, and I'm serving those right now, and I'm enjoying it.
My mom was one of 8, and she had 6 brothers and like one older sister, and I want to say like 5 out of like 8 of them swam in college. So swimming is kind of just like in my DNA. It's like something that my family's always done. And so when I was younger, she was like, you can either swim or you can play tennis, because that was something she did. And I decided to like pick swimming, and I started year-round swimming when I was around 11. And then after that, I just kind of kept going with it, and then I decided I wanted to do it in college, so we started looking. We found Coach Mo on the men's swim team here, and I just like visited the school. I met with him. I really liked the place, and I just started to come here.
Yes.
So not as long or as cool of a story as Grant's, but
He about went to Asbury, but I told him no.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
we
That's right.
recently
Look at
smoked-
Asbury.
We recently beat Asbury pretty bad.
Yeah, that's right.
In
That's
a
right.
meet, and I don't think he would like to. And we would have swam against each other. And
Yeah.
I told him not to go there, so I'd have been like, hey, and we probably still would have won if you were on the
Yeah,
team.
probably,
maybe.
probably.
Not sure, but yeah.
So since the team's so new, I know, Grant, you kind of experienced a little bit of it trying to get off the ground. I know that's been a little bit of a struggle. How is that what's that process been of Mo coming in, kind of there's another coach, trying to figure out getting the team off the ground?
Okay. Well, a lot of people don't know, but last year Mo was here and actually coaching, I think, 6 guys. One of the guys is still here. His name's Hunter Conrad. Great kid. And I think it was just I don't know, there's something about having a bunch of freshmen on a team, and they're not local kids. They're away from home. They're young. It's hard to do a lot of work without your parents, and they don't have friends coming in. A lot of freshmen get lonely and kind of want to go home, being away from home, and that was tough last year, and we lost everybody except me by the end of October. And that was tough for me because that was my first year back of swimming after not swimming for 6 years. And if you know anything about swimming, it's very technique driven. And if you haven't done it for a while, everything feels awful in the water, and you're just pretty much drowning slowly for 2 hours. And so I think last year was a failure, but what Mo's really focusing on this year is being more involved with the team emotionally and getting the guys to create a community with each other. Much different than last year. We do a lot of things, volunteering for the volleyball teams. You return the balls back, or in soccer, we do a lot of that stuff. We eat a lot of our meals together after every practice. We pretty much eat breakfast together. If everybody gets up for breakfast, we go eat together. We eat dinner together, and we're here during days when kids aren't at school. We still train, and that kind of builds stronger and bigger bonds between the guys. And I think that's much different than last year, and it's looking pretty good because nobody's quit yet, and we've actually gained a guy, which is great.
Did you guys know what you were getting yourselves into with the fact that the program was so new?
I did a little bit, just with my experience of college coaches and just harder training. So last year we trained 12 days of the week, which is 4 more practices than we do right now. So we're doing, I think, 7.
I think, 8 or 9.
7 or 8 during the week right now. But I think it's going to change once we have more guys. We don't do any morning swims. They're all morning lifts, except on Friday mornings or Saturday mornings we would swim. But it's just less training overall. And I think it's easy to get demoralized when you have less guys and you're just training super hard. It's I don't know. And if somebody doesn't show up, then it's even then it's just you. So that's a big factor. Nobody's quit this year, and that's I think it's built upon itself from last year.
And then you specifically, David, coming in, did you when you were getting recruited, did you look at Grant, seeing if he was the only swimmer? What kind of drew you into the team?
At the time I visited, Grant was not the only swimmer.
Okay.
So I had no idea about that. Everyone had quit. By the time I was a little bit out of there. So I remember this summer looking at the roster and being who's still here and who's not. And I remember seeing it was only Grant, and I was like, well, maybe it's not updated. Maybe they just didn't put everyone else's name in. But I wasn't super shocked at what I was coming into, but there have been some different things that I was oh, I wasn't expecting that. But overall, I've kind of expected a good amount of what was going on. But yeah.
So what has been your favorite memory in your short time here on the swim team?
Oh man, probably something that happens in practice. We're on the way to a meet. We've got 2 assistant coaches that are not paid, but they literally coach, I think, more than Mo verbally. But it might be scripted by Mo, whatever they're saying. But Mo does write all our workouts. And I think Steven deserves some kind of award at the end of this year. I don't know what, but he gives us our set. Like, our set is our workout. So, like, each set is, like, a different block of exercises or intervals to make, depending on how fast you swim. And we interact with him throughout the workout the whole time. So, and he's a character. He's hard to understand. And so he does, like, goofy sounds and says things weird. And when you're in the middle of a hard set and you're, like, working hard, and he does something really weird or, like, makes a really weird sound, like, nobody says anything at that point. But then at the end of practice, like, somebody brings it up, and it's just, like, super funny. He said this one thing one time, like, we were doing, like, a max effort set, and he wanted us to push it until a point of, like, failure. And he used the verbiage, like, when you get the like, when you get the you know, like, when you're dying, like, when your body, like, goes numb, or your whole body's, like, vibrating, or it's, like, totally stiff. He wanted us to, like, push to that threshold. And we thought it was just, like, really funny. That's I don't know, one of the most memorable things. Like, we have, like, an inside joke we use, but there have been a lot more funnier things. You think of anything?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the swimming part of swim practice isn't exactly my most favorite thing ever. But, like, I mean, or in the moment it isn't really. But looking back, it's all fun. And then, like, after practice in the locker room, whatever, we're just messing around, whatever. We have music bumping on the speaks, or just playing on the speakers. And then we have like, in the hotel rooms, and we go to different meets. We always just have fun in the rooms. Like, I brought my Xbox one time. We were like, it took us like an hour to, like, try to set up Fortnite on my Xbox. Like, it was just a lot of fun. It's just a good community. Just, like, hanging with the team is just, like, what I love. But yeah.
So I was on the swim team for 2 years here, and I know how, like, mentally taxing it is, and it's such a draining sport physically and mentally. How do you guys think you guys do well individually with balancing swimming and academics? So I know it's a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's a struggle a little bit. I think I'm getting a little bit better at it, which is good. But, like, coming in, I thought I knew it, like, I thought I could balance it pretty well, because, like, I never swam high school, I swam club, and then I would have school or whatever. So I thought, like, well, I guess I kind of know what I'm going into, but I'd never done, like, where it's connected, like, swimming and school. And so, like, I think I've gotten a little bit better at it, but I mean, it's still something I'm learning, you know?
So I took a break from school after I flunked out, and that, of course, dropped my average GPA. So coming in, I wasn't eligible right off. And so last year, everybody had quit, and I was ineligible, so I couldn't even compete either. So I was really surprised I didn't quit. I don't know how I got through last year. It's probably one of the worst years of my life. But it was good. It was a good year to grow, help me grow. And so coming back, I hadn't been in school for 6 or 7 years, so I didn't know how to read a book. I didn't know how to write papers, APA, MLA. And I didn't know how to, like, study. I don't know how I retained information anymore. I didn't know how to remember how to do that. It's totally different. So last year was a hard year for me, in school and in the pool. But this year I'm actually back into it and able to, I'm taking a lot of my, like, major classes and stuff I'm interested in, sports management, which is fairly easy. It's just about managing people and just around, sports. And I enjoy it, and it comes very natural. So I think everything's getting much easier for me since last year.
As you both head into the postseason here soon, what are your expectations, not just individually, but for the team?
I hope we get, like, a bigger team. I love all the guys that are on the team, but it's, like, sometimes, like, it's hard. Mainly the biggest problem is, like, when we go to the swim meets and it's like relays and stuff like that, we have, what do we have, like 7, 8 guys? Half the guys are already swimming, and then, like, it's hard to get, like, really hyped and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to, like, a bigger team next season, and then, like, but this postseason, like, individually, I don't know. I'm looking forward to just improving upon technique, stuff like that. And as a team, like, I don't know. I don't know, like, how much more we can improve. I feel like we're all pretty close-knit group. Yeah, I don't know. What about you, Grant?
I haven't really experienced a full postseason yet in college because, like, after I was finished swimming, I knew I was done. So I just pretty much blew everything off after that. But here, I remember, I wasn't even able to swim last year, so I didn't really have a postseason. Everything was just, like, straight all the way through, no taper. I didn't, like, try to rest a whole lot. It was just like I was a club swimmer year-round. But postseason this year, I think we're going to focus a lot more on perfect swimming. We have a tendency, I think, our team to, when we get tired, it's a tendency for everybody, but we want to focus on holding our technique when we're tired through longer swims. And I think that overall, in general, that helps with injury, so you don't mess up your shoulders, swimming correctly, breathing correctly, kicking and pulling, keeping your hips straight. I think that's very critical in preventing the injuries swimming can create at the college level, because you're swimming yards. If you're swimming 12 practices a week, you're swimming yards that aren't normal or natural for the human body to be horizontal in a liquid holding your breath. Like, that's not normal. And the thing about swimming is every time you're, like, out of the water, your body's changing that adaptation to vertical standing and breathing all the time. So whenever you're out of the water, you're losing your horizontal holding breath technique. So I don't think we'll, like, take off any practices. It's going to be the same kind of practice schedule, but our type of training will be different. It'll be more technique-based, less just kind of aerobic training. It'll just be more efficiency in how you move through the water than kind of beat you in the ground kind of training, hopefully.
And then moving on to more of the spiritual aspect, how do you guys think that your coaches and you guys as a team incorporate your faith and that side of growth into the team?
We pray after every practice, which I think is really good, because it shows that, like, the coaches want us to, like go towards God as well. And then, like, we have on campus, like, athletic chapels that our coaches are always reminding us, like, hey, like, we have these to go to. Even, like, Coach Mo at probably one of the first athletic chapels was, like, they put, like, oil on her head or whatever, and he was one of the guys doing it, like, one of the front runners of, like, doing that as well. So I think, like, that's really good, especially at a school, like, where we prioritize God and everything like that. Yeah.
So our Coach Mo, he's a military chaplain. So he's actually currently, like, enrolled, or I don't know. He's got a military ID, so he's, like, and he goes some weekends to a military base and does military stuff. But so he is a chaplain, and if you don't know anything about military chaplains, they're, like, not able to hold a gun. They can't touch a gun. They won't touch a gun. And he's one of the most valuable people, like, in the group. Like, if your chaplain dies, then, like, you lose God, that kind of thing. Like, because you're in a life or death situation, you want a guy there that can help you emotionally in those situations, and he's that guy. And on the team, he helps us understand what it means to be a man as a Christian, how to work hard and help others to do the same. While we were in practice, a lot of the things we that we're challenged by are just like mental obstacles, pretty much holding your breath longer, which hurts. And sometimes we have to push our bodies to a point where it reacts as a warning. So like my body's gonna like, I don't know, you get a feeling in your chest when you're holding your breath, like you feel it well up right there. That's your first warning of like you're gonna need oxygen soon. It's not like you're currently like passing out. Like you're not. That's not happening. You have to push that ceiling sometimes, especially if you're trying to like beat somebody in a race. When I come off the wall, I do my dolphin kicks, and I take my strokes. But if I lift my head, it pushes my hips down and slows me down. So if I keep my head down, it keeps me more horizontal and streamlined. And so the longer I can keep my head down, the better I'm gonna keep the momentum off the wall. And so that's pretty key thing. And just learning how to push yourself mentally and others, and being empathetic too is a big part of being a man, honestly, and leading a team, especially with like eight guys. It's easy to get like down in the dumps and be like, oh, I don't want to be here. Nobody else wants to be here. Nobody's even talking right now before a practice. It's pretty down. And that's honestly typical of swimming. But when you have 8 guys, it's a little tough to get people pepped up. I'm not that good at pepping people up. I'm good at just like kind of talking to them and cheering them up, but not really like, let's go guys, come on, let's get this set, because I don't want to do it either. But so I kind of play the opposite side of it, like, yeah, this does suck. I don't want to do this either, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And that's kind of the man part I was talking about, is you got to do things for other people too sometimes, not just because you don't want to do it. You know, I'll do it for my teammate. You get in, I'm getting in. And I think we've built that pretty good. It's not too bad.
So final question here. What's been the biggest lesson that you've learned in your experience of being a part of this new team? Both of you guys.
A new thing that I've learned. Well, I don't know if I'm the captain of this team. I don't know if there's like an official IWU. Like, I don't know. I think it's just Mo's delegation that I'm the captain. And I was kind of the captain of my high school team. I wasn't really the captain. I was just the guy. And
You were the guy.
I was him. And I was not one to follow, I think, in high school. My actions weren't very respectable. I was more cocky and just kind of messed around. I worked really hard in practice and used all my energy I could, and that's why I was good. But, like, I wasn't mentally and, I don't know, emotionally a good leader. But here, 7, 8 years later, I've changed a lot, and I've gone through some things that have changed my perspective on people. And I think last year is my big year of growth, and losing all kind of sense of self and trying to start a team after everybody quit really changed my perspective and what, like, I'm grateful for at this age too. I'm 27, and I have another year to compete at the college level, and I'm pretty grateful for that. I think that's one of the big things I've learned, is learning to be grateful for things that you in the past didn't realize was like a blessing for you.
One thing I've learned is kind of being on this team. It's like a new team, so it's small. I don't know, like, I've been on like other teams, I guess, but I've never really, because like since there's so little guys, like everyone is counted on so much to like perform well, or like if you're on a bigger team and you don't perform like great, it's not like people are like, okay, they're like that's bad, but like we could still do well as like a team. But since there's so few people, like if you don't do well, it's like, oh shoot, like like that's not good. So one thing I've like learned to is like kind of like hold myself accountable and stuff like that. And it's I mean it's a lot easier to do that when like the stakes are higher, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've just learned to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, being more accountable for your personal actions, like on a team of 8 guys, and we have to not breathe off the walls. So our first arm stroke, we can't take a breath, or our second, actually, we cannot take one on our second.
Yeah, we just got yelled at that.
He said never. It took, I think it was like a 10-minute speech.
Yeah, it was.
It helped me like finish my set though, because I was a little hot, like I needed to cool off. So I was like, nice speech. I was hoping he didn't add more. We just restarted it. We only did. So like, I think he helps us. That 8 people helps us become more aware of what we're doing ourselves and how like it affects others. Honestly, because some of us breathed off the turn and some of us didn't yesterday, and we all got yelled at. So like, we know it's going to affect our close friends if we don't hold our breath off the turns. And I think it helps us be less selfish as a swimmer, and helps us be better as a swimmer too. So, yeah.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you guys. Obviously, I'm a swim fan, so I'll be cheering you guys on and hoping you guys grow as a team. And that'll be all for this episode, but join us next week for episode 3 of season 4 as we'll spotlight the women's basketball team. And I'm Abby Harvey here with my guest host, Isaac Wolf, and our guests, Grant Brown and David Beatty, here on Wildcat Week, presented by Amplify Media.